morning, everybody. It is Friday. We love Fridays because then we have 2 more days to work without a lot of interruptions. Goes Kane. Okay, MLS stats. We got some things to cover today, so I'm going to get started because we have a 10 o'clock ethics class. In case you need an ethics course or a general course, you can sign up at bee.vegas. It's not too late. So here we go. Today we listed 154 homes yesterday, which makes me, of course, as you know, happy. And we put 131 under contract. So we listed more than we put under contract. And we don't want those numbers to be too far apart, but a little far apart is good. And we want the just listed to be a little bit more than the just sold or under contract. We did go up a little bit. We have 0.685 months of inventory. So we went up from 0.67. And April so far, we have sold 3,016 homes versus last year, we only sold 1,716 homes. So last April, I should say, we were averaging 78 sales a day, while this April we're averaging 138 sales a day. So that is awesome for everybody. Year to date, we're doing 132 sales a day versus last year today we were doing 101. So we are 30% ahead of last year. And I think we're going to see the numbers dwindle even more April, May because of COVID last year. But so that'll be interesting to see. We're still selling homes over $1 million. I think there's an article in today's Review Journal that I haven't had a chance to read yet, but it talks about what can $500,000 buy you? So I think it's really a good article. And coincidentally, John had just had a client on Tuesday that lost a bid. The house wasn't in the buyer's opinion worth going too much over appraisal, although they did, list price, although they did go over list price, but they still lost it. Happy Friday to you, Frank. Happy Friday. Hope it's been a fantastic week for you. What's my other star here? I think that was it. So we're going to get started today because we have some things to cover. And Kane is here to help me navigate through the way I want to do this and make sure that you all will. That's my boy, my son. Aren't you my son? They even look alike a little bit. Yeah. Thank you. Oh, we have fun here. Okay, I'm going to show this in the stream, right?
Yes.
Okay, we're going to show this in the stream.
There you go.
Then what am I going to do? Solo. And hopefully everybody can still hear me. So that would be Kane's. Kane will have to let me know. He's working on it. So we're going to talk about telling a story. And so let me put that's where I get. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, you can hear me. So now I've got to go to my PowerPoint and put up where to go? Here.
Yeah.
And I want to go here, and I want to go here, and then I can go back to what I'm seeing. Okay, so tell a story. And this is what we said we were going to talk about today. Everything's good. Okay, I think I can navigate without you. Kane has to go get ready for class. All righty. So when you tell a story, so there is, turn this buzzing off. So everybody, there is some things that you need to know to brand yourself and not be vanilla. You do not want to be vanilla anymore. You want to make people laugh. You want to make people cry. You want to make people think. And you want to make people want more of you. So there are several different yous when it comes to branding yourself on social media. And just so you know, even though Facebook and other platforms say, a great story should be less than 30 seconds or less, I disagree. And I disagree because of watching my own analytics. It seems to me, when I look at and analyze my analytics, My stories that are longer than 30 seconds, longer than a minute, longer than 3 minutes, almost at least 5 minutes, get the best engagement and the best reach. So I think Gary Vee said that they tell you 30 seconds because that's whatever their metrics are. However, that's for them. For us to get more engagement, it should be, I think, 3 minutes or longer. So that's good because, you know, it's really hard sometimes to make a point in less than a minute. So one of the things about who are you is creativity. And we keep telling you that you're now a media company. So you have to think creative. And you have to put the creativity in the context of your story. So, you know, Pinky Nose Naples, I use her as an example all the time because she has conquered this like no one else that I can see out there. I'm sure there's people out there, I just haven't seen them. And I've followed Pinky for a lot of reasons. One of the things, and I will say, oh, good morning, everybody. Happy Friday, Annetta. I will see you shortly at Buffini. And Leslie, good to see you. I love that car. So one of the things about Pinky that attracted me to, or when I decided to follow her, was she had a background as being a videographer for Fox News, and so and it was a local station, not the national Fox News. So locally, she would have to go and do spot interviews on stories that weren't necessarily, you know, the top of the attention-getting stories. These were just things that fillers. That's the word I was looking for. More filler. But she developed a style, and she developed being able to create her own you. And so she also tells us that we need to prepare. And preparation. Let's talk about the different kinds of stories. Now, there's different themes. There's people themes. So who is your most memorable client and why? That's a story. Who was the first buyer you represented? Wow. And who was the first seller you represented? How long have you been in real estate? And that can be a story. It can be a funny story, like how did you ever get into real estate? And what did you do before you were in real estate? And why do you love real estate? So what are the lessons that you have learned? And what is the thing that you love most about real estate more than anything else? That is a beautiful story. And then what drives you crazy about real estate? So when you're thinking about these stories, you can think about something funny. I mean, look at these laughing, crying, thinking, wanting more items, bullet points that I put up there. So when you're talking about what drives you crazy about real estate, it could be something funny. It could be really something funny. Or the other thing I wanted to interject in here is, you know, what was the saddest thing that happened to one of your clients? Now, of course, you're not going to name names and things like that. You're just going to tell the story about how someone needed to get in a home and so on and so forth. I remember Teresa telling the story about, it's really interesting, Teresa, and if you would tell a short story about it, I think that you would get a lot of engagement. And it was a story where the home, the movers, the sellers couldn't get out because the movers were late. Well, when it recorded, Jimmy's here. Oh, Jimmy's here. Hi, Jimmy. Hi, Jimmy. Are you there? So he'll come on in a second because I can't hear him, but we should be able to talk to each other. Yeah. Okay. So hopefully he'll start talking so I can hear him. Maybe Kane can help. But anyway, so they recorded, and when they recorded, the new buyers said, you can't move anything else out. Yeah, seriously. And they locked the door. They basically wouldn't let the sellers back in the house. Hi, Karen. Happy Friday. Happy Friday. And so when they couldn't let the sellers back in the house, okay, um, it was disastrous because their safe with money in that safe was still in the house. Now, I think Teresa said they actually had to go and litigate that issue. So that would be a really important story to tell because people need to get prepared, make sure that they're out of the house. The other thing that I see that people are doing right now, too, just as a real estate tip, is um, they are giving the seller a couple days to get out of the house after it closes. We talked about that yesterday. So, what was your first listing and how did it go? That's a story. What do you remember about your first sale? That's a story. I mean, I remember John when he was just starting real estate with Jack Matthews and Company in 1986. And he would go to class every day. And Ronnie Voss said, now go knock doors and see if people want to sell their houses. So John went about in the Spring Valley area knocking doors. And, you know, he had gone to 7-Eleven, got those fake roses, used a pipe cleaner to tie his card to it. So when somebody opened the door, he'd say, hi, I'm John Albrand. And he would give them a rose and he'd say, are you interested in selling your house? Wow. All of a sudden somebody said yes. And he thought, oh my gosh, now what do I do? Because he hadn't taken that class yet. So that's kind of a funny story. And he ran back to the office and so he and Ronnie went back to the house and Ronnie showed him, you know, how to take the listing. But I always thought that was funny. So do you love where you live? And do you love where you work? And why or why not? Great stories. Oh, Frank says, what did Frank say? Frank says, yours was a short sale. Oh my gosh, that had to be a story. That couldn't have been an easy journey. Let me know in the chat if it was good, bad, or ugly. And then what is it about your area of expertise? Okay, I am going to bring Jimmy up here. I'm going to solo off here and bring Jimmy up here. See if Jimmy can. Can you hear me?
Absolutely, yeah.
Excuse me. Hold on, I'm gonna mute myself and cough.
This is the really important topic. Everybody knows that facts tell and stories sell. And when you see a presenter that's a professional, they always use stories.
Yes, they do. Yeah. I mean, Brian Buffini is all about stories.
Yeah.
He is all about stories. Word. Let me hide
He does
this.
a lot of quotes too. And
yes.
they impact stories and
always.
quotes.
Yes, he always does quotes. And Jimmy, the other, let's see, we're still at places. What is it about your area that you love more than anything? I think that's a great story. And then what is the difference between the town you live in and the next town over?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's a big difference between Las Vegas and Mesquite, for instance, and Las Vegas and Boulder City.
Mm-hmm.
So those are good stories. They're informational. And then what was the coolest house you've ever seen and why? Now, I don't know. Did you ever see the underground house here in Las Vegas?
I never got into that. No.
John has seen it. I haven't seen it. But he said it was really extravagant and really interesting. And it still exists, doesn't it, John?
Yeah.
Yeah, he says it still exists. Yeah. And where is it, honey? He forgets.
It's Flamingo and Spencer. It's Flamingo and Spencer.
Jimmy knows it's Flamingo and Spencer. I wonder if you can get in to see it. I don't know. And then, you know, Elvis Presley's house became like a museum. And they would hold charitable events there. And that, you know, now you can't get into it. I think it's gone. I think they took it down. But, and so Frank says, yes, it does. It was for sale. I wonder who bought it. We'd have to look that one up.
Yeah, that'd be interesting.
And so what is the craziest or funniest thing you've ever seen in a house? So there's a house listed in Red Rock Country Club that I think finally sold. The fellas that owned the pawn shop that were on TV owned this house, and they had every room was a different color. I'm talking hot pink, royal blue, mint green, and the furniture, which was very expensive, was very, very outlandish. I mean, we're talking like animated Disney type furniture almost. And it took a long time for that house to sell. It had 13 garages.
Wow.
I know. And I looked, when I saw that, I said, that's got to be a misprint. But I looked and there's 13 garages. So the whole bottom of that house must be garages. And I think, yes, Liberace's home was a great home. Yeah. And so if you look up, it's on Red Arrow in Red Rock Country Club. And I think it's sold for over 2 million. So look that one up and look at those pictures. And you can use those pictures, can't you, Jimmy?
Only with
tell
the
a
listing
story?
agent permission. You have to cut, because whoever took the pictures owns the pictures.
Okay. So even though they're on the internet.
Yeah, because you're not using it. IDX is to market, so we can cross market. But this is not really IDX. This is storytelling. You'd have to get permission.
Yeah, but they might let you have permission. You never know. Yeah. Because I think the new people that bought the house are going to change it.
Well, it makes the listing agent famous too. I mean, look at my track record. Look at my success. I sold this house.
Yes, yeah, you're marketing for the listing agent. So Frank says another is Wayne Newton's old home, 28 million for sale. Yeah, that's a sad story. If you look into that, that could be a real story because he went bankrupt. I mean, he had all kinds of problems. And everybody knows Wayne Newton. So we live in this wonderful town. And there's so many stories we can tell, interesting, sad, and otherwise, that we should, and if you just Google it, right? And you can find the story.
Well, Susie Perrine told me she had Nicolas Cage's house listed, and I know Tyson's house came on the market. So there had been some high-profile celebrities that have had places in Vegas that, like you said, come on the market, sold, don't sell, whatever.
Yeah. And then what thing do you see most often in older homes and in newer homes? So in Las Vegas, I don't know how I would, I don't know about that one, because not a lot has changed here because we're not that old of a city.
Right.
I mean, when I lived in Pennsylvania for a short time, the house I lived in was 150 years old. And it had 3 stories to it, and the owner had subdivided it. The first floor was an apartment, then you went up the steps, and then they made the second story 2 apartments, and then the third floor was another apartment. So that old house had 4 apartments in it and a basement. So yeah, we don't have that here. I think the only thing I can remember is John sold a house down around the 4th, 5th, 6th Street area. Anyway, the house was old. It was built in 1950. And the fella came to make a garden, and he found a skeleton. Ah. And John said, "Don't tell anybody." Well, you never know. I mean, you don't want to go there. So lots of interesting stories. And then let's see. Yeah. What thing do you see most often in older homes? I said that. What is the one thing a buyer could do to present a more attractive offer? Now, in today's market, that is really an important story to tell, because this market is like no other market I've ever seen. How about you, Jimmy?
Well, and when you're a listing agent and you have 12 or 14 or 15 offers, you're in the perfect position to find out and to tell the story about, listen, we had 15 offers. That tells people that you're a great marketer. But the reason we picked the one we picked was this, this, and this. And here's what you can learn from 15 offers. As a listing broker, here's the reason the seller picked this offer, because we're the agent. We don't pick the offer. Right. So we have these strategies. What caused this seller to say yes to the 15 offers? Which one do you pick? I mean, there's the paradox of choice there. And how does a seller navigate through that? Listing agent gives advice, guidance, counsel, but the seller ultimately picks.
Yes, exactly. And then what is one thing that a seller could do to sell their home faster? That's a good one, because I don't know how much faster we could sell our homes.
Yeah, that might be for another day, that one.
Right, exactly. What should you do with all your things when you are selling a home? And why is that important? You know, like you take boxes to a listing appointment, right, Jimmy?
Right,
And
right.
that's a good use for the boxes.
Yeah.
Take your personal items and put them in these boxes and put it in the garage. And I think that's a great tip. Great tip. Because you said yesterday you saw a home that you were looking on some homes that were just clean as a whistle. Nothing on the countertops, you said, and everything was in
It was
order.
video, right? There a video we were looking at.
Uh-huh. Is there an event in your life that sparked you getting into real estate? I think that's interesting here in Las Vegas, because when we were recruiting and doing a lot of recruiting and hiring a lot of agents, because we had 3 offices, you know, we would reach out to a lot of the customer service people in the hospitality industry.
Mm-hmm.
The you know, like the cocktail waitresses or the dealers, people that have to talk to people.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and they have to be interesting and interested in the people, you know, right? Which is more
Service
important.
oriented.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, because they can talk to people and they're not shy. So what is your favorite event in the area that you attend every year? Gosh, you know, I keep saying we live in Vegas, we live in this, we have a wealth of information here. And everybody on this show should have their own show, a weekly show already with, I mean, all these ideas should be giving people, you know, some motivation or inspiration. And what about your kids' schools? And what events do you try never to miss? And was there an event that stands out to you as a turning point in your life? You know, so there's all types of stories here. And I don't think you were on in the beginning when I said, you know, you have to make people laugh, you have to make them cry, you have to make them think, and you have to make them want more of you. Mm-hmm. So there has to be several versions of you when you go online, and you have to be a media company right now, Jimmy.
Yeah, I think that's what Gary Vaynerchuk is, one of the things he's kind of famous for saying is, you know, I have all these different businesses, but I'm basically a media company.
And you have to be creative. And that was one of the things with what Gary says about being creative and contextual at the same time. Don't take a screwdriver to hammer a nail into a wall to hang a picture.
Right.
You know, it has to have context and it has to fit together. You know, so I have over 30 items here, Jimmy, for people to use to tell a story, all these different themes. And these are really simple things. These are nothing complicated. And I think everybody should be able to answer every one of these questions in a video. What do you think?
Well, and if you did a show once a week, you could go into a studio or get into your video work mode and do 4 videos, and you have your whole month's worth of work done. And you just time it to go out once on whatever day it is. And plus you can use that as a teaser for, listen, next week we're going to talk about this. Make sure you tune in. If you tell me what's coming up, oh man, let me mark my calendar, because I do want to see that one.
And if you, you know, I got into the habit of doing the stats. Yeah. And my thing was doing them differently than anybody else does them. So I go in and I pull different pieces of information and I put it on a spreadsheet and I do percentages and things like that. Because I think that I was trying to figure out what's relevant. Mm-hmm. And I'm looking for trends. And we've certainly had some trends this past year.
Yeah, I think when you talk about how many properties are on the market, 2,600 and 135 a day, I mean, we have 20 days of inventory left. And the challenge is when a consumer goes on Zillow or even the Las Vegas Realtor website, it looks like there's 6,000 houses available, and there's not without offers. And so your numbers are, what could I actually make an offer on? And those 2 numbers that you throw out on a regular basis every day, just about, look, this is the number of houses. This is how many we're selling per day on average, 135 per day, 2,600 homes available between condos and homes and everything. 20 days of inventory.
Yes.
That's got to get people's attention. And that's
Yes.
not what they're seeing on other websites. What they're seeing on other websites is an inflated number of homes available, so they don't know why we can't get their offer accepted.
Exactly. Yeah. You're being relevant and you're being accurate
Yes.
and making them feel, like you know what you're talking about, which is very important.
And here's the truth. The consumer has said over and over, I want my agent to tell me the truth. This is the truth. There's 2,600 homes that are without offers. Some of those are outside your price range. The truth is, this is when we narrow it down, what's actually you can make an offer on that's in the price range and in the area you want. There's 3.
Yeah. And that's it.
Yeah.
That's it. Jimmy, what's interesting, and I'd like to know if somebody wants to put it in the chat, why do you think buyers are still navigating through this storm we're going through? Why wouldn't they sit back? Are they worried about the interest rates? What's everybody's opinion about that?
Well, I think buyers they continue to see price increases and they say, you know what, I waited and I waited and I waited and look what it's got me. I'm not waiting anymore. I think they're just tired of waiting, and they've seen the evidence. You can't argue with what's actually happened, and you can argue about what's going to happen. You can argue about what's happening right now. There's a difference of opinion, but what's happened in the last 5 years, you can't. The facts they're of record.
Yeah, 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 and like you said yesterday, which was to me very important, when we look at the last 10 years, the median price has tripled.
Mm-hmm.
When you look at the next 10 years and you compound the appreciation, prices are going to double. If you buy a $500,000 home today, in 10 years, it's probably going to be worth $1 million.
Right. I agree. I don't think I think that's be really hard for that not to happen.
Yeah.
And that's what we have to look at. What's the most likely scenario? What's the worst case scenario? What's the best case scenario? What's the most likely scenario? And we've got to place our bets based on what's most likely, not the worst case, not the best case, but most likely.
Right, right. So with all these, here's an interesting thought I had the other day or yesterday, I think, when we were talking about this. So if we have such a turnover right now of homes, and hopefully that's filling our tax coffers, with the transfer taxes and things, I
That's
hope,
true.
and the property taxes are going up when now the prices, when do they increase the tax rate, the tax on a property, when it sells, or every so many years? I really forget that.
Yeah. What I was told is that once every 5 years, they come and they reassess the area once every 5 years.
So go ahead.
So whatever your tax code is, whatever your tax district is, that's what you got to look at.
So the property taxes over the next 5 years will increase. Will increase. If I buy a home today and it's $300 a month, a $500,000 home, I think is about $330 a month. So when they come back and reassess that house, I'm probably going to pay higher taxes.
For sure. Yeah. Like you said, in the last 5 years, homes have doubled in price or close to it. So your taxes are going to go up considerably.
I think it would be an interesting thing to know when the taxes are going to go up, to provide that type of information to the buyer.
We'll put Hannah on that today.
Okay. I think that's an interesting thing to know.
It is. We need to know that.
Yeah. Yeah. I like that. I had even forgotten when and how they did it, but yeah, let's do that, because I think that's going to be relevant to buyers. And especially, I think John's had some first-time home buyers that have asked that question: when do taxes go up? So
Right.
He probably knew, but he left the building here for a minute. So Elvis left the building. Yeah. So I think that people need to be, I think what I'll do, Jimmy, is I'll do a spreadsheet of today's median price, and I'll do the average. I'll look back and do the average appreciation. I may even look up NAR to see what theirs is, so that we can give the folks something tangible to show somebody.
Okay.
I think that would be a good idea.
Okay. I would be more interested in local than national.
Okay.
Local
Just
is more important.
Yeah. Except, well, I have to. Okay. So we'll talk about this maybe before the class or after the class, because of that foreclosure bust we had. I mean, our prices really, like you said, tripled. So I don't know that, maybe we'll just look at the last couple years. But even then, they went up astronomically. Well, Jimmy, I have more to this show that we can continue on Monday, because we talk about content and the things we talked about today. We talked about how you repurpose content. And so Monday, I'm going to talk about planning, because people have got, and I'm going to give everybody a yearly plan, a monthly plan, and a weekly plan. I'm trying to get you all to put all the pieces together, and any road stop you have, I'm trying to take it away so that you can start doing these things, because we have to do it. And right now, Jimmy, LinkedIn is the organic reach is out of sight. And so I really want people to get started doing shows and things like that. So Jimmy, let's go and teach people ethics.
Okay, I'll see you in a few minutes. I'm in the room,
Okay.
so I'll see you.
Okay.
I'm in the classroom. Okay.
Bye, everybody. Love you. Have a great weekend. And I'm going to have Cammie Mosley on as my guest tomorrow. And she's going to talk about how she went from being a home warranty specialist, marketing guru, to a writer who's having her scripts submitted to Hollywood. It's going to be a fun show.
Cool.
All righty. See you later, everybody.
I'll see you in class.
Okay. Bye.